It's a pretty laid back scene here at the soiree. Oh, the goats are coming back down now. They now that the weather's a little bit better, when the pigs arrive, they leave. However, and then the pigs are here going around, cleaning up, finding stuff. And what I don't want them to find is that in that, I'm going to begin to call it the nursery. In there are my two youngest kids. And my chicken, I gave her some hay there. I think that's where she's going to lay her eggs. That's a good place for him. I guess he's a rooster. I thought he was a chicken. Anyway, why I'm filming this is because I'm ready to use that block and tackle to raise that hammerhead for the trip hammer. It's gonna work more like a pile driver, and I'll just raise it a little bit and drop it. But so I'll raise it. That takes two hands, and then I'll see if I can film it when it drops to see if that'll break along that seam. That's not very high, and it's hanging kind of crooked, but I think I'm probably going to drop it from that height. I don't need to, I don't need to go the max here at first. Now, the way a block and tackle works is if I raise up on that pulling rope, if I just pull up instead of down, it'll release and drop. Now, I haven't used that. Finding that, I knew I have two, an identical one to that, which I loaned to the neighbor, and he's got it still, and he uses it. But I knew where it was, but I haven't used it in possibly 10 years, 15 years, but I found it. It was like finding an old friend. Same thing with this trip hammer head. I won't tell you today, but I'll tell you tomorrow where I got that to build it from. You might be able to guess. Let me give you a little bit better look at it, in case you try to guess. All right, here goes. We'll see what happens. I'll let you watch down there. Oops. Oh, nothing happened. I'll have to probably use both hands. Let me try it one more time. No, I'm going to have to use both hands to get it to trip. Well, it tripped, but it didn't drop freely like I wanted to with both my hands. I've dropped it about 4 times. I think I'm going to dispense with a fake handle and just work it like a pile driver here at first and drop it from high. Now, if I have to make it drop clean, straight, without catching a little bit on the... I'm glad it catches on the block and tackle, because that's a safety measure. But if I have to do that, I'll use a thinner rope and a sharp knife. I'll lift it and I'll use that almost like a fuse and just cut it and let it drop from as high as I have to. That worked better. You see, I took that handle out. I just had to stick it in there to see what it would be like. So now it's not exactly a trip hammer. It's more of a pile driver. And I think that mechanism, I didn't oil it or anything like that. I just used it like it was. And I think it needed to be freed up a little bit. It dropped pretty well. So I'm going to just keep taking it higher and higher and see what happens. Yeah, the block and tackle doesn't let it just run free. It'll only do that so far, and then it catches and stops it. So I'll just drop it that little bit so you can hear the thunk. I think it'll let it do that. And that's a good thing about a block and tackle, because, for a safety device. But I'll find a way to drop it higher. Like I said, I'll use a much smaller rope, almost like a fuse, and just cut it with a knife and let it go. But I won't do that today. Let's see what I can do here. If I just pull this down a little bit and let it release. It's It's hard to do this with one hand. See, it caught. I don't know if you saw that or not. There, it dropped. But it still barely dropped. All right, so no crack the whole way along there yet, I don't think. But I'll get it, believe me.